Greetings, Craddock here. We're going to talk a little bit about some monk mechanics, specifically those related to crit, because I want to do a mechanics guide on spirit per crit later in season, specifically related to LoD Wave of Light. So that's going to be the focus here. Now, this particular test you're looking at is just casting the base rune Wave of Light. What I'm specifically trying to answer the question for here is, does the Rabid Strike clone damage get increased by the crudest boots multiplier when you don't have the ally on the bar? And the answer to this question is yes. You can actually run without Mystic Ally on the bar for this particular build, and what might be considered as a core skill is in fact not proven by these numbers here. So this is very interesting because it opens up another skill slot in terms of like what you can do with the build. It makes me very interested to see what I can do later in season for this particular configuration. All right, coming up next, we have a couple of tests related to crit damage with the lightning rune of Wave of Light, Pillar of Ancients. First, we're going to test with without the clone involved, so it's just the Wave of Light. And as you can see, it's critting on the initial impact, and also from your own cast, it will crit on the damage ticks. It does, it ticks for 3 seconds every 30 frames. So you get 6 ticks in total. And here we have the Wave of Light Shadow clone from the Rabid Strike weapon. It does not crit on the second half of the bonus here that does tick damage. It's just a mix of crits and non-crits that are actually coming out. So to actually see it crit a little bit more than the other spells, but not a lot, makes a lot of sense now. And now here we have quite an interesting spell. We have the Mantra of Retribution. So when you get hit, it's going to proc. And it also affects your allies and your follower because it's an aura. And we have the Collateral Damage rune, which has a 75% chance to proc when Mantra of Retribution procs. And the interesting thing about this spell is there is no internal cooldown, really. And as you can see here, it works, just tested the last 30 seconds. You can see the pets work and the follower works, and yeah, it's just producing crits like a ton. So if you're fighting in density, this could be a great option considering it doesn't consume Obsidian Zodiac procs, right? So this would be a great option for restoring resource. And the main intent here, in my mind, would be with use in combination with Aquila, because at least in a push build, Aquila would help out significantly for toughness and allow you to possibly drop the Unity in that build. Now here we have Static Charge skill. Static Charge, when you apply it to certain enemies, when you hit other enemies, it will proc and produce a lot of zaps to all of the other enemies in the area. So this can be a great source of crits that you can use. And you can see here I'm using a secondary generator to proc it, and it does quite well. The issue with this one is you have to take time to actually apply it to enemies, which is not necessarily going to be the best for Wave of Light in particular, but it might be good for other builds, right? And another one that caught my eye is actually this item, Sash of Knives. Unlike other items that have a set internal cooldown, this one actually scales with your attack speed somewhat. It has a similar ratio as compared to how you apply Stricken to enemies. It applies at about the same rate. And yeah, it pierces enemies and can crit. So if you're in density, I imagine like big packs of density, you'll get a lot of crits out of this item. And the belt slot is fairly, especially in the Wave of Light build, is pretty interchangeable. So I'm excited for this one as well. Now, seeing as the Spirit per critical hit affix is not available until season launches, I might not be able to get a mechanics guide out on this particular one until a little bit into season. However, I'm excited for the possibilities here with the Wave of Light build in particular. these items and skills kind of strike me as potentials, and there might even be others. So going to continue testing and see what I find. But yeah, for now, thank you and have a good day.